I think if you got it, flaunt it. I don't know. If I had that body, I'd probably wear the same things.
Yeah.
I thought it was wonderful. It was a great surprise. It was a shock to everyone, and it got my attention. That's for sure.
Yeah, Britney's outfit on the VMAs. I think she's just trying to show that she's not a kid anymore, and she looked great in it.
My name is Rain Parcell, and this is episode 5 of my series, Starving for Acceptance: Why Fashion Keeps Selling Us the Same Body. This is part 2 of Social Media Rebrand with trend cycling, early 2000s Fatphobia, and the Y2K revival. As part of my senior capstone, with my primary research question being, why does the fashion industry continue to promote damaging beauty ideals despite growing awareness of their harm? That's the overarching theme of my video essays. My goal is to create increased awareness of this harm, create a community to discuss these issues, and to begin to change the ideal. To note, my videos and research are centered in a female and Western perspective as my experience. This video's purpose is to look at how trends reinforce ideals, how the early 2000s shaped body standards, and why those standards coming back right now through the Y2K revival are dangerous. I will be discussing trends, pop culture, and how social media has grown, focusing on celebrities, paparazzi, and the evolution of pro-Anna/pro-Mia culture within social media platforms from Tumblr to TikTok within the 21st century. Trends are known to come back after 20 years, as people seek comfort in nostalgia, often mirroring the mood of the times with politics, economics, and a need for familiarity. Well, with the rise of social media, these trends cycle back faster and faster. Yet, in 2026, there's a mass revival of the 90s to the 2010s, especially with 2016 echoing the state of our world. Often within fashion comebacks, the body standards of the time come back as well. As a society, we do not allow clothes to fit us, but rather expect us to fit the clothes. That is what makes the Y2K revival dangerous. The early 2000s was a major time for the fashion industry, with the rise of brands like Abercrombie & Fitch or Hollister. Brands that made model bodies something people could buy into, while at the same time celebrity culture was exploding. Paparazzi were everywhere, and women's bodies became public property. For millennials, our formative years were a perfect storm of body-shaming forces, the so-called heroin chic fashion era that gave way to low-rise jeans and baby tees, and the advent of sites like Tumblr that allowed thinspo content to spread like wildfire. Michelle Konstantinovsky, in her article, "If you survived the early 2000s without body issues, congratulations," for Glamour, states. This is a statement I think summarizes how the rise of social media in the 21st century has glorified disordered eating and unhealthy body standards. The standard at the time wasn't just thin, it was extreme, with flat stomachs, visible bones, thigh gaps, and narrow frames. Anything besides that was criticized publicly and constantly, with celebrities as the blueprint for this. Take Britney Spears. At her peak during the early 2000s, essentially had her body dissected by the media, shamed for being too thin, shamed for being too fat, shamed for eating, etc. Or Lindsay Lohan, where her body changes were treated like breaking news. Paris Hilton, who fit this standard, was so constantly scrutinized, and even worse, Nicole Richie, under constant comparison to Paris Hilton, with her weight constantly discussed in tabloids, praised for losing weight, shamed for gaining weight. She was never enough. It's never about achieving the perfect body, because even when women had it, it was not enough. Looking at the fashion staples of the early 2000s, you can see how this beauty standard was enforced. Low-rise jeans, crop tops, and baby tees all exposed your stomach, hips, waist, and your whole body emphasized by the tightness of your clothes. These clothes only worked if you had that flat stomach and visibly protruding hip bones. Fashion wasn't neutral. If your body didn't fit the clothes, then your body is the problem. And these standards didn't just exist visually, but tied to behaviors like extreme dieting, disordered eating, and appetite suppression. Normalizing things like diet pills or smoking as ways to stay skinny, in addition to the heroin chic and wave aesthetic of the 90s. We glamorized bodies that looked malnourished and marketed that as an aspiration. The mindset is echoed everywhere today, and you can hear it in the language people use online. Summer body, model body, lean, toned, clean girl. Social media amplifies all of these ideals. Now, this is where I want to discuss pro-ED communities and how these sentiments are becoming concerningly popular again. So, for people who are lucky enough to not know about these things, pro-Ana refers to pro-anorexic communities and pro-Mia for pro-bulimia communities. These terms are used within online spaces to build communities encouraging eating disorders in dangerous ways such as posting thinspo, motivational quotes, and relies on a user base that encourages restriction and self-punishment through public accountability. These terms spiked on Tumblr in the early 2010s, became incredibly popular again through the aestheticization of eating disorders as a lifestyle, with black and white photos of protruding bones, romanticizing starvation, blogs dedicated to becoming smaller, getting sicker. It became a competition. These communities don't always look alarming on the surface. They can come from places like people trying to get better, but unfortunately, it created a safe space reinforcing this disorder. And it blended into normal internet culture. Aesthetic blogs, clean eating, workout inspo. We make harmful behavior aesthetic, which can become encouraging, especially towards children. Without recognizing the harm of this, it comes back, like now. Instead of Tumblr as a primary social media site, the communities shift towards TikTok, with inspo rebranded into aesthetic lifestyle content. And these people seem like they have their lives put together. They have control. They brand it as hot girl walks, Pilates body, model off duty, 2000's skinny. Similar to how viewing fatness with poverty and laziness reinforced thin ideals in the Victorian age, it reflects now. People who are in control of their lives are successful, and that success comes from being skinny. The message is the same. Shrink yourself. Now, as I mentioned body checking in part 1, this is where I want to go more in depth. Body checking is just thinspo. It is monitoring body shape, size, and weight in a way to hold yourself publicly accountable, yet subtly. By showing off to an audience, they will reinforce you in this. Now, not everyone who does this is doing it purposefully, but there's 100% a standard being set that makes body checking normal, and that is the issue. Now, how does this connect to today? Well, it's coming back. The Y2K revival led on platforms like TikTok or Instagram. 2000's fashion has been rebranded to the new aesthetic, starting in 2020 and still continuing to now. Low-rise jeans are the trend, crop tops never went away, but they certainly have gotten smaller. Things like legging legs, which is just disguising have a thigh gap. And videos like being skinny in a 2000's way. It isn't just bringing back the clothes, but rather the expectations that came with them. Tying directly into my research question, why does the fashion industry keep promoting these harmful ideas? Even when styles change, they tend to center around the same types of bodies. And when Y2K fashion comes back, it doesn't adapt to different bodies. It pressures bodies to adapt to it. And that is made even worse by algorithms pushing the same images over and over again. For a lot of people, especially people who grew up in the early 2000s, this isn't just a trend. It's a reminder of what it felt like to constantly compare yourself, to feel like your body wasn't enough, and to try to shrink yourself to fit something that was never realistic in the first place. Now, a whole new generation is being exposed to the same thing, just repackaged. It's easy to see it as just fashion, as nostalgia, but it's not just that. It's coming back, even with everything we know about eating disorders, mental health, and body image. It shows that awareness alone isn't enough to change systems. The fashion industry profits off of insecurity and benefits from making people feel like they need to change themselves. In the description of this video, I want to promote some content creators who fight against this than ideal online that I recommend. So there's a little list if you want to check that out. My goal with this video was to go through how the early 2000s shaped body standards and why those standards coming back right now through the Y2K revival are dangerous in order to create increased awareness and community around this issue. So, if the ideas and content I shared resonated with you, please keep following, watch my other videos. Feel free to contact me by email or Instagram. Thank you so much for watching and giving your time to me.